Hi, hello, good evening, and good day. It's February 27th over here in New York in America. And we are discussing Australian Survivor. What is this? Episodes 13 and 14, where we said goodbye to Sneaky Stevie, and AFL legend David. I don't even know what the AFL is.
I'm assuming Australian Football League.
But what kind of football? Are we talking about football or
Oh,
soccer?
that's a fair point. That's a
They're
fair
probably
point.
talking. It's probably soccer, right?
I don't know, honestly. I'm not
I
sure.
don't know either. We're gonna find out. In the meantime, well, let's get going here. This is Strat Chat, an Australian Survivor and such. You noticed it was slightly extended this time for extra sacks because we are losing the sacks completely next week. We have to lose those pre-merge people. They have to go. Come on, it's so long. It's so long. You don't think so? All right.
I like the sacks.
We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it. Anyway, I am Kyle Petty, and I am joined by my festy besties, Gina Morgino and John Dunphy, and this is Strat Chat. And you can find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod or on our newly updated website. That's right, we got it together, stratchatpod.com. We've got Lenny here. Lenny has an answer to our question. The AFL is not this football that they're talking about here. Is not anything that we were discussing at all. It's Australian rules football, according to Lenny, not soccer or rugby. So we're going to have to find out what they're doing over there.
Yeah, I'm curious. It does
Would
look
it not
like
be the same as our football then?
Well, it uses
Australian
the same sort of
football, or do you have a brown ball?
It uses the same sort of ball that we would use. It looks like in American football.
So?
I'm sure the rules are probably somewhat different here or there for Australian football. Same thing with like Canadian Football League. They have the CFL. Like it's a similar game, but it's like slightly different here and there. But it looks like Australian football is pretty close, at least, to what we would consider, our version of American football. So
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. We like that.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, Mon Somber Monday.
It is a Mon Somber Monday. Thanks for pointing that out, Matt. It is Mon Monday here on Strat Chat, much to Gina's chagrin.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff to get into, huh? Let's see here. Let's see. This whole thing kicked off with like the Spice Girls being reunited, right? And they're all very excited to be so. This is where Liz now lets them know, tells George that Haley now was up to be blindsided before this mutiny twist. George didn't like this. Didn't like this at all.
He hated it.
Yeah, he did. He hated it. He hated it. George is actually more concerned with Flick. And the fact that, the kind of the way she's been fluttering about, because she's kind of taken to the girls, and he says, no, she's going to like leave. She's going to be off with the wind, as he says. So what do you think about this? I don't remember Flick like this. You didn't want to. Nobody wants these seasons, right?
I didn't. I don't know if.
I feel like I saw Flick.
You saw Flick?
I feel like I did. Everything blends together, though.
It does. A lot of it blends together. It's just the fact that, George kept just going on about, how he's played Flick before, kind of how he plays. I don't remember anything like major about her season. only remember him. Maybe that's the edit's fault.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if this was in regards to like her not taking the deal that he was trying to make with her at that tribal or something like that, or if it was based on a previous something. But
yeah,
I don't know.
No, I don't totally remember. And I also watched a lot of those seasons because that's when I had COVID. Binging all these. So like,
one big season.
Yeah, it was.
I will say,
exactly.
I gotta say though, like I feel like I totally agree with George here. It's like I'm surprised that Liz and Shonee were so like amped and hyped up and ready to go to work with Flick. It was like it wasn't that long ago she was using her fake cookie idol to try to take one of you guys out. You know what I mean? Like now all of a sudden now we're trusting Flick like she can do no wrong.
I see no like bonding between them or any reason to believe why they should be excited to have her. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, I don't know why the tide suddenly changed. Unless it was like a mutual hatred for Simon and now like kind of banding together thinking, hey, we're right on the eve of, merge here. Maybe.
Right.
What else could they have bonded over? Because that'd be the only thing that Flick would be fired up about.
Right. And I can understand them, like the three of them between Shonee, Liz, and Flick kind of bonding and coming together over that, but like not to the point where you're just gonna like throw this out, like, okay, like Flick totally 100% trust now. Like I felt like this was all out of desperation for Flick, that she like needed somebody. Like she had just gotten, embarrassed by trying to use this fake idol. I don't know. Like this was a clear desperation move by Flick, and I feel like you should never really fully trust someone who's coming to you out of complete desperation. You know what I mean? Like especially when Merge is around the corner, and she's probably just trying to hang on until she can get back with the people she really wants to work with.
But these actions were, kind of made this whole situation interesting because this is what really pushed George towards Matt, and really wanted to kind of bring him into the fold. Which is now what made that tribal council like interesting. Obviously later on. But first we had the reward challenge, right? The heavy cart and blah, blah, blah with the balls and blah, blah. Villains win.
So descriptive.
Right? Because like, who cares? Nobody really wants to talk about that stuff. That stuff doesn't matter. But after the challenge, this is now where George is now letting Haley know that it was Nina that was going to that was kind of planning this blind side against her, and to look out.
Look out.
To look out, and now this reward now is that the Survivor sandwich bar. Now this is interesting because this is one of the things that we do see on Australian Survivor a lot. People going to the reward one at a time, knowing that there's some kind of an idle hint or a clue or something in there. So everybody's kind of trashing it, looking for things and such. So this is always interesting. So they elect to draw sticks, so they can pick the order and blah, 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 blah.
I think this is one of the best rewards, by the way. I get to go by myself to this spread. I can be as big of a pig as I want and just stuff.
No one's gonna know about it. No one can say nothing.
Bread and meat and cheese and just just give it to me.
I don't like these. I don't like this reward at all.
Why?
Okay, I would have to make a deal with everybody and say, listen, y'all. I'll go first. Listen, let me go first. I promise I won't be looking for nobody's idol. I'm not going to upset nothing. I'm not going to look for nobody's clue. I just
can't get in there after people have already touched stuff. No,
because it's not just the way they touched it. When I saw Miss Haley run around, she put her hand in something and stuff was just tripping off. And I said, oh,
and that,
my
you only saw little like baby clips of some of them too. And Simon, somehow his entire arms were covered in something. I said, what did you even do?
Right. And now I'm supposed to go over there with what? My Dixie plate and make me a sandwich. Like after everything has been messed over.
Too many. My OCD could never.
Absolutely not.
Too many germs. I'd have a panic
No.
attack. I'd be a nightmare. They would
I'm
not like me
sorry.
anymore.
And I was
Not
sitting
a
there, and
chance.
I was trying to think like maybe it's different, because you're out there in the jungle, like you're always around germs. Like maybe, I mean, obviously some of this has to come down, and it's like, but I feel like I would just stand there and cry, because I wouldn't know what to do. I'd just be so damn hungry. But like, after seeing
you were
everybody
talking to
coming
somebody.
out,
if I am home alone, I have to clean the kitchen counter twice before I cook anything in the kitchen. I'm not touching anything that they have touched.
It's horrible.
I mean, I guess like when you're out there for like a month, though, you probably start to think differently. I mean, like literally,
and the average human probably would. I would not.
Like, how many people reached into Simon's butt to see that fake idol he was hiding there?
Not a chance.
I know. I mean,
wouldn't be me.
I'm not really sure that like that doesn't really bolster the argument on that other side at all. Like that, if anything, that really tells me this
Makes
is
them
exactly
gross.
why
Right.
I should not.
Exactly why I don't want your hands in my food.
Because
You're
no
touching
one
people's
had a
butts.
Well, that's what I mean, though, is that I feel like it's all the germs are just there. They're just one big germ.
Not eat.
I hear that.
I would starve. I would
don't
starve.
think I don't think I could.
Wow.
Wow. But yeah, so that's what's going on over there. Back over at the Heroes camp, Matt is now seeing that Flick is kind of getting close to the girls, is kind of making him get a little nervous. So he does pull George aside and says, "Hey, okay, you can use me as such. I'll do whatever you need me to do, Mr. George." And he says, "It's very interesting," and they take it. So off they go to the immunity challenge, and this one was fun. This actually we should chat about for a moment because this is a classic. We're seeing our tribe members holding up the sandbag for as long as they can, up over their head. If you drop one of the sandbags, the entire trough of water will fall down upon you, thus eliminating you from said immunity. But this had a twist, this time, right? You had one member from each tribe forming a puzzle. Whoever formed the puzzle first got to eliminate somebody. I thought that made this fun. That was a fun little twist, right? Fun twist.
Love a puzzle. Love a puzzle.
And I love the sound of the puzzle pieces. The wood
clack, clack, clack.
So I did the clack, 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 clacks. Yeah, very, very fun. It's a very good time. And so very soothing. And I gotta tell you, Stevie got smoked. Got absolutely smoked.
I couldn't believe they chose him.
Yeah.
Because the last time that we saw Stevie on a puzzle, he and George were going to rip each other's faces off because they were arguing over how bad Stevie was at the puzzle. It's like, why are you putting this in his hands? I get that he's maybe not as strong as everybody else, but like set yourself up for success a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's worse, though. How long do you think he could have actually held a sandbag?
Right, because nobody was able to sit out of this competition, right? I think everybody was in. So like, who is the least equipped to hold a sandbag above their head?
Right? I think
for an extended period of time.
Was this the one that Jerry sat out of, or was that the next episode?
Did Jerry sit out?
Jerry sat out of something. I just don't remember which episode it was.
Maybe Jerry did sit out because I don't remember him.
Lenny to the rescue. Lenny. Jerry sat out.
Jerry sat out. So maybe Stevie couldn't sit out.
Yeah, I wonder what it was. I wonder if maybe Stevie had sat out a previous competition. I don't know. I really don't know.
Because like Jerry's not gonna, because I remember he sat out because of his like injury or whatever. But why couldn't you put him on the puzzle?
Yeah.
Fair enough. And maybe that would have made a difference. I don't know that it would have though. Not with these teams.
I mean, she was breezing through that puzzle.
Yeah. I don't honestly, puzzle or no puzzle, whatever. Whoever sat out, the outcome of this was not going to change.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't know if it was the editing or not, but it's like it literally. You didn't look at the other tribe once. Everyone on this side was like passing the thing around to each other. They were all just like sitting pretty. They didn't move, and I don't know if we just didn't see it or they were just like, "This is fine."
Yeah, I feel like Stevie could have won that puzzle, and their tribe might have lasted like an extra 15 seconds in the challenge. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, they were like, sure, we have to get Sean out of here. And like, yeah, you do have to get Sean out of there. But also, it didn't really look like any of the rest of them were struggling too much.
Right. There's just too much extra muscle over there.
Yeah.
It's like between Sean, David, and Simon and Sam, just geez, it's like it's crazy.
Yeah. But so the villains win, obviously. So a lot of discourse back at the heroes camp, because the Spice Girls they're not agreeing on how this should go. Because obviously George, he really wants to go for Flick, and Shonee and Liz obviously want now to go for Matt instead. So they try to direct George in this way, and George is not really having it. He says, "No, my vote is going to be staying the same." Now, what did you think of this? Did you think that George entertained this conversation enough? Like, do you think this was fair? Because obviously later, Liz brings up the idea that, in an alliance, you need to like work together. You put a name forward, you have a conversation, and maybe you go back and forth.
Yeah.
What do you think on that?
There was a part of me that felt like George needs to be careful here because he does have a decent thing going with who he's working with and seems to have some numbers, but you also don't want to like if you upset Liz, you're potentially losing Liz and Shonee, not just Liz. You know what I mean? Like you really do have to be careful. So I do understand that like he's got to compromise, but I sided with him and how he was thinking here. I was like, Matt was the one that was approaching George. Flick went right to the girls, kind of got in with them, and then all of a sudden the girls were coming to George like, no, we want Flick. And it was just like, if I was George, I'd be like, well, wait a minute here. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, I can maybe I don't think that George is always the best at like being like, listen, I understand your side, but like, let's think about this. I feel like he's usually very much like King George. No, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. This is the smartest thing. So maybe he needs to be better at like communicating that way. But like, I agreed with his thought process, but not necessarily how he communicated with Liz and Shonee the whole time that this was all going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't feel like he was really like hearing them very much. But I think it's also an interesting thing too, because like with this situation, like you can also see that as a threat to you, like down the road. Never mind just like, Flick being a threat to your alliance because like you can't trust her with them. You also just can't trust the three of them together against you. That's just an extra number. Like the whole thing is scary. But like, so you can't just like allow those to go in the name of the alliance, because like how much can I really trust it? Like I kind of do need to shoot my shot here to see if I can kind of keep you on course if possible.
Yeah.
Like it's very tricky. But yeah, so there's that, and that really does bring us obviously now right into tribal, and it's really much of the same, except now the whispers started. Right, we had some whispers. Liz and Shonee kind of going back and forth with George, trying to check in, see if this is still what's going on. While Stevie is saying that he's locked in with what he's doing, he knows what he needs to do for the good of his alliance. Right. George whispers back, let her know. Whispers back to Shonee, let Liz know, no, my vote has not changed. And then Liz pushes back. And this pushback, like, really, I respect her so much more now, like, for this. Finally, somebody is saying, no, George, I'm not just going to just blindly do whatever you want me to do.
It is wild to me that with the exception of Simon, really no one has pushed back on George for anything. He says what we're going to do, and they're all like, yeah, okay.
Okay. All right.
I feel like that's because he's just so smart, and he usually is right, though. You know what I mean? It's like he says something, and like even if you're like, no, that's bullshit. Like 10 minutes later, you're like, wait a minute, George said this. That could be true. You know what I mean? Like even if you don't want anything to do with him, don't want to work with him, he says something, and you're like, wait a minute, that's really smart. Like that's just how George is. I feel like. So
no, you're absolutely right. It's such a tricky thing because it's also like, no, I just don't want to just be one of your sheep. I don't want to just be a cog.
Like, sure, he's been correct, but also at the same token, like, at what point do you just cut him? You know, like at what point is it like we can't keep just following this man and doing whatever he wants us to do the entire game? We're all gonna get cut. Like you have to cut him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Somebody's got to commit treason at some point, you know?
It almost like, and not to compare these two things because one of these seasons is obviously so much better than the other, but like it's almost reminiscent of that.
How much better?
I'm speaking. It's almost like reminiscent of that, like BB-19. We're just gonna do whatever Paul wants us to do, and he's gonna pick us off one by one because nobody wants to come after him. Like you can't let that person get all the way to the end. You are going to be the one that gets cut. Why is no one coming for him?
Yeah, I know. Well, because it would not be had. It would not be had. But that is why I like this pushback from Liz so much. You know, because she said, no. So she goes, listen, if you don't change your vote, I am going to use my idol on Flick. So now what?
Yeah.
And Shonee goes, do you want me to say that?
She's like, are you sure?
It's just like, she's like, yeah, say it. Yeah, say it. And say it she does. And she goes to George and George says, well, okay. Well, you know what? That's gonna be I mean that's your choice. I think that's a waste, but that's certainly your call. That's your call. But you immediately saw like George's like wheels turning. Like just going, it's like, oh my gosh, like what is going through his mind right now? Like, how is he going to navigate like out of this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't see a way out for this. Right. Like you actually just have to do what she says. She forced your hand, like you're stuck. And then he pulls Jerry aside. And this is where like I really thought it got so crazy, you know, because Stevie is still going on about, you know, about what beautiful people they have in this tribe and how very sad it is that a very beautiful person will be leaving us on this evening. Meanwhile, George pulls Jerry aside to ask him, you know, if he had to play this game and go further, you know, with Steve or Matt, like, you know, or who would you want it to be rather, like to actually go tonight? Yes. And he says, Steve, like my heart sunk.
Yeah.
But you also sort of knew it, right? Like you sort of knew it. And then even as they return, he's still going on about being loyal to his alliance and everything. And it's just like so
cringe. Yeah.
And it does actually, it's funny because earlier I was saying like, oh, like it's crazy to me that Shonee and Liz would just be like so trustworthy, you know, trusting of Flick all of a sudden. But essentially, Jerry and George cut somebody that had been voting with them, was a number for them for weeks, in exchange for somebody who literally like 12 hours ago was like, yeah, I'll work with you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're kind of doing something very similar. But yeah, so George comes back and says to Shonee, well, how about can we do Steve as a compromise? And the girls agreed. And Stevie's fate was sealed.
What was so what? And I felt so bad because like you could just like he really wasn't long for this game. But like the fact that he could still be there, sit there and be like, yeah, I was totally blindsided. That was a complete blindside. I had no idea that was happening. And I was like, Stevie, they were all whispering behind your back, and you're the only person that nobody spoke to. What do you mean you were blindsided?
Damn. Oh, poor Stevie.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting because last week I gave one of my votes for my top three.
You sure
Stevie.
did. Good.
Because I was really liking how he was doing some stuff. And then this week, here he is. He's gone. And, you know, he had a big impact on me. And as it turns out, I heard from some of our viewers, our listeners, about how, you know, the impact that Stevie had on them as well. I received some messages and some photos and stuff, and I put something together just for Stevie.
Oh, no.
So just to mark his exit, I put this together. I hope you enjoy it. Here it is.
Oh, no.
You are so stupid.
What? What's wrong?
Where did some of those other pictures come from? Where did some of those other pictures come from? What was that?
That was created. That was created by me and Matt Blevins.
Like he died. Like what is that?
I'm so stupid.
I tell you, for the last 2 days, for the last 2 days, Matt Blevins and I have been planning that. Actually, Kyle, I was still at your house yesterday when I was messaging Matt about it, saying, "Yes, I said send me a picture of you next to a candle with a sign that says we love Stevie," and he delivered. And we had that beautiful, beautiful montage.
You
together.
are so stupid. Oh man.
That's great.
Oh god.
Yeah. Goodbye, Steve. Goodbye, Stevie.
Oh shit.
It was very fun. Oh God, that was very fun.
Like as if he died in memoriam. You stupid idiot.
Did you like how one of the pictures that I took that I put in there was just his like opening credits picture, and then the other 2 pictures of Stevie that I included were pictures from the same competition that he was in like 3 days ago.
Oh my god.
It's his most impressive, impressive moments.
Yeah. Love Stevie. We love you, Stevie.
I do love you, Stevie.
We love you.
And with his exit, we went right into merge, which has also made his departure extra stingy.
Yeah.
Because right there, almost made it. Because I understand his first season he did not make it as well, right? What was it? He was out day 13. I thought
something
they
like
said
that. Like 11 or something. Somewhere in there.
Oof, you knocked him down too. Sorry, Stevie.
I remember the number 11,
No,
right?
It could be. It could be. So there's that.
Yes,
they had the feast, blah blah blah. Oh, what do you think of their team name? Team Mole Mole.
I like it. I like that it's Samoan for I'm hungry.
Yeah, I thought that was cute. I actually did think it was better than Nina's Vigilantes. I actually thought
she was not happy that her name was.
She was
not
so
picked.
salty.
Yeah, she was really like upset. Like
Vigilantes
like, wow. Reminded me of like Twisted Metal. There were Twisted Metal that came from like PlayStation with like that clown, that ice cream truck.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Come on, Twisted Metal.
I do not know this game.
Nina reminded you of this?
Well, Vigilantes. The name Vigilantes reminded me of Twisted Metal. Sweet Tooth was his name. Sweet Tooth.
I do not know this game. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. All right. We'll post about it on the socials. We'll educate the masses on Twisted Metal. It's actually about to be a movie or a series or something. You're about to see a lot of Twisted Metal. Yeah, we're seeing a resurgence. So anyway, tribe name is Mole Mole. I'm hungry, Samoan. I don't love it. But I mean, anything really before the challenge? No, right? That's really all I remember.
I don't think so.
No, they just had their big feast, and I mean, there was some fun chatter at the feast. Flick running around to all her old allies, and you could see George was definitely watching.
Yeah, that's when he started, the antenna was up. The antenna was up. Matt did have a good catch here. I wanted to bring this up. I thought it was just me, but he said, "I'm just trying to figure out how we get Mole Mole from Famole Mole. Like, where is the F at? Like, where is that? Like, I saw that written. I was like, what is Famole?
Yeah, I was like, that's not what they said.
Yeah, it's like Fa Mole Mole or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't understand what that was, but this immunity challenge was a real classic. Okay. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Was there more from the merge feast before I cut you off?
No, just the running around. We had what's up, Leah?
Hey, Leah.
Hey, good to see you. DM Rocks also had a comment here just about the merge feast, saying that Flick was playing too hard at the merge feast. It did look like she was running around. It's funny, like if you're trying to portray yourself as still being on the side of Liz and Shonee, it's like you could maybe tone it down a little, because it seemed very obvious to me. Like Flick is running over, whispering in Sean's ear, whispering in David's ears, whispering in Sam's ear. It's like, these are the people that you're claiming you're now going to be working against with your new allies. Liz literally threatened George. Liz threatened another Spice Girl, saying that she was going to use her idol to save Flick if George didn't do what they wanted. And now, first chance he gets, Flick is jumping ship. You know what I mean? It's like, maybe, especially if you're planning to now try to use Shonee and Liz and say, yeah, like the plan is still to go for Simon, like we talked about. It's like, maybe not right at the first opportunity, like run over to your old allies and start whispering things in their ears and basically ignoring Shonee and Liz. But I don't know. That was my opinion.
Yeah.
Sure.
No. Agreed.
But that's all I got for the feast.
Feast complete. Nom, nom, nom. And that brings us into the immunity challenge, right? And this is a classic. This is seeing our survivors under the grate.
Challenge. I hate this challenge.
The tide is coming in. The water is coming over top. And we must try and stay under and breathe for as long as we can. Last one to stay under the grate wins immunity.
It makes me so anxious.
This is the one that it was 43, where we saw two winners, right? Because they both survived.
They outlasted the tide,
right?
Yeah.
Owen and Carla, right?
Yep.
Owen and Carla.
Yeah.
And Jeff said, "Forget this. We're not waiting for another one. You guys both win. Goodbye." This time we didn't have the same success, right? We didn't have the same.
Was not surprised with the outcome, though.
Not surprised?
No.
I didn't have any expectation, really.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
Yeah.
Well, once people started dropping out, and I saw that Matt was one of the last remaining players, I was like, all right, he's a lifeguard. He probably practices holding his breath underwater.
I don't think I knew that until this episode. I don't remember knowing that about him.
Right. Yeah. I think I did know it, but I think I forgot it. And
I'm sure they said it in his intro package, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, I didn't factor into his success here. And
I was like, this guy, he probably just goes for swims and practices holding his breath as long as he can all the time.
I imagine this is probably something that they're trained for. Absolutely. But Nina gave him a run for his money.
Yeah, for sure.
No, there was nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, it must really suck to come out and see that you were the last one. Like that would absolutely crush me. Like if I went out early, like well, whatever. I definitely couldn't have lasted that long. So like I'd be good at to swim off. But like because then you would always think in the back of your head, like, what if that was just like another 40 seconds? What if that was just like another yeah. But definitely a fun one to watch.
It makes me so anxious.
Yeah. This one made me more anxious than actually the one in 43. I don't know why, but this one
I do not like this competition at all. Well, I think they were having a harder time this time than they were in 44. Like everyone seemed to be really struggling.
Water seemed a little more choppy, huh? It was a lot more swells. It felt like,
I still want to play it. I just don't want it to be for a competition. It's just something I just want to like try.
Not I.
Like I don't want anything to be on the line because I won't be good at it. I just want to say I gave it a shot,
Yeah.
But so Matt won. The old heroes, they want Shonee, and the old villains, they want Sam. I still don't really like care about Sam. I have
Yeah, he's just kind of there for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I feel like he's supposed to be more of an interesting like.
And is he a returning player or is he one of the new ones?
He is. No, he's a
returning player.
And he actually played in Samoa as well.
Yeah, him and JLP had that moment. I forget which competition it was now, but JLP was like, "Oh, this was the first ever competition that we did here in Samoa." And Sam, you were here, But Sam is like a weird one to me because I feel like he's like good at things. There's so many other bigger personalities and like more interesting personalities that Sam just gets lost. Like even if he's like a decent competitor and like a decent tribe member, it's just I'd much rather watch what people like, obviously, George and Liz and Shonee are doing, but then even people like Sean and Flick, and like there's just bigger personalities out there that like Sam doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
No. So in this, George took a moment here to now go to Sean and tell him the plan now to vote for Sam. This I felt like was like a very strange
Sloppy.
blunder like I was very surprised by this.
I don't know where he thought he was going with that one.
Yeah, I don't know why he thought that was a good idea. Like
unless the intention, like unless it really was a long game and he never actually wanted him out, but like that doesn't make sense. like that was definitely the plan.
That didn't make sense, and that isn't how that looked when they tried to resolve this.
Because even the girls were like, dude, why? You know?
Yeah.
Right. This felt for me like every 10 moves that George makes, 9 of them are great, and one of them is just like didn't quite think that one through.
Yeah.
Because
I was the same way.
Because he is so calculated with everything he's doing, and it's like, well, why didn't you think about that one? Like that seemed to be like an easier one. Like I feel like most people would have known that one.
Like he had made the point of being like, well, we have this plan. We're going after Sam. Shonee and Liz are still a little, nervous about the plan. So let me try to go get another number. I never thought that Sean would be that number.
Right.
Like, do you actually have any thoughts on who you thought the number would be, or who would have been a safer move or a better move to go to than Sean?
I'm trying to think. Who did he already have?
Well, of that crew that came over, like it seemed like they definitely had Haley and Simon, who like Sean and them thought they had, and then I guess Matt would be the other.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3. But I don't know. I'm just trying to think if there was, like somebody that would have been smarter for George to go to. Or should he just not have spoken to anyone else at all? Just not try to make this move at all,
Well, I don't know that he necessarily needed to. Maybe somebody else could have done some of that legwork.
Yeah.
You could.
But even still, was that not enough numbers on their own? Did you need an additional number?
I think they were concerned about like Simon not actually voting with them because they were sure that they had 7.
But
right?
is Simon alone enough to tank that plan? I don't remember the breakdown.
Well, Simon. Well, so they would have had 7 with Simon, right?
Sure.
So let's say Simon is going to jump ship. Now it's 6 and 6. So
okay.
Any plan that you have, you're not 100% on. You know what I mean? Especially, and then there was the whole added thing of like Liz has an idol, but are they going to actually vote for Liz, or should we play it for Shonee? Like there was a lot of uncertainty in the air between and even someone like Haley. Like is Haley going to really follow through with this? Now that we've merged, is Matt not going to jump ship? Like what if Matt wants to go back now that he's back around Sean and Sam and David again? Like.
Well, there was again like a lot of speculation around, whether or not they were coming after Liz or Shonee.
Sure.
Yeah. And that really played a huge factor too.
Now, and we might not have seen it because of the edit, but like one thing that I found interesting was that, people like Matt were at that conversation at the well where Sean was breaking down like us 5 are going to vote for Shonee. These 2 are going to vote for Liz. And Matt was there. And as far as I know, like, and this could have just been the edit and things that we saw or didn't see or whatever they decided to show us. But Matt, as far as I could tell, did not go and tell George or Jerry or Liz or Shonee that like, hey, this is the plan. They want to put 5 votes on Shonee, 2 votes on Liz. Like we didn't see that actually happen. So it's like, how much information is Matt getting from both sides that he's keeping to himself, that he's sharing with either side? It's like,
I mean, to be fair though, and I don't want to jump the gun, but like when we did get to reading the votes at Tribal, they were very much like, oh, wow, what a crazy vote. And they were so like smug about like knowing where the votes were going to lie. So I'm sure they at least knew the plan was to split some votes between Liz and Shonee, because like the 3 of them were sitting there when Liz started getting votes being like, wow,
Yeah.
So we could have just not seen it.
it could be something that we didn't see, but I did think because Matt has become a very interesting one to watch to me because he's clearly he won the first immunity challenge, right? He's clearly become like a he's always been, I think, a good physical threat, but like he just gets overshadowed by some of the bigger guys that are in there. But Matt's interesting to me because he's been hero strong, right? And then the hero tribe became a bunch of villains, right? Between George and Shonee and Liz and Stevie and all that. And he kind of out of desperation went along with the villains, and now he's still sort of on the fence. It gets kind of a weird thing. Like he's in a very interesting position for me.
Yeah.
Lenny here has a comment. Says, I assume Matt or Haley told them. That's how Liz knew to play the idol for Shonee and other stuff, which makes a lot of sense. I just wish that we could see some of that stuff because I feel like the last stuff that we saw from Matt was like, I'm going to go to tribal and I'm going to make my decision and really think about things. That's kind of like what he said was that I don't have my mind made up. I want to go to tribal and listen and then make a decision.
And they did kind of like block out his vote too. Mm-hmm. Like they did the same like aerial shot of like not showing us who he was voting for.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Well, I also thought now it was interesting before we got to tribal, and now the girls now found out that George had spilled the beans to Sean about Sam. That like then the plan immediately now switched to Dave, and I don't think that Shawnee's influence here should be understated. Like this is again where like she said, "Oh, hold on! Like, what did you just do?" Now we have to change the course here, and all of a sudden the target switched. Yeah. And I just think that that's going to get interesting as we go forward because I think Shonee has way more influence in the Spice Girls alliance than even the edit is giving her credit for. I was like, I can't remember when else, but there was another time where I feel like she influenced something heavily. It might have been something I don't remember what it was. This is not the first time I've been.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was either.
Exceptionally impressed with her. Yeah, so I don't know. Like Shonee's another one that we have to really keep talking about and just mention.
Yeah,
it was
totally agree.
Sarah was her name.
Sarah, Miss Australia.
Yeah,
who pushed Miss Grease.
Because I remember that being a thing of like they had like a full target, and she was just like, I don't really like Sarah, and all of a sudden Sarah's probably going to be number one.
Yeah, and it's like, she has to go.
Yep.
Bye. I don't really trust Sarah. Oh no, Sarah, see ya. Yeah. Gotta watch her. She's interesting. And I think that's also evidenced by what went on now here at Tribal, right? Because like David really, there's a lot of like little interesting moments here, but clearly the rest of the tribe realizes that Shonee is really the real threat here, which is why they all loaded up their votes on her.
Yeah.
But David in this moment kind of trying to intimidate Liz a little bit into like, how she was using this title. Are you sure you want to play this to Shonee?
Yeah.
Like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, it almost, to me, it felt like this might have been a little bit more effective if you didn't look so shaky and scared. Didn't he look terrified?
Yeah. And
he looked terrified to press her. And
I was genuinely confused about it for a second because I was like, wait a minute. Did they expect that she was going to use it on herself and now they think Liz is going home and they don't want Liz to go home and that's what they're stressed about? Like, I was like, why is he so like panicked about being like, are you sure that's what you wanted to do? Like, chill.
It's like, no, I need to press her a little bit. I need to act like this big man, but like I'm really nervous to act like this.
He looked petrified.
Yeah, it's like a little 17-year-old boy that wants to rip off the bodega. And like, like, that's exactly what this felt like.
I really liked David for the most part throughout this season. And I don't know what it is, but this episode in particular, this week, I just like, there was something about him that I was like, I'm so over David. Like he's
another one. I feel like we just didn't really get any of him. Like I feel like I don't know anything that he's done in this game until this week. I was like, well, I've never seen. Like there was one point in one of the competitions where he was doing something, and I was like, shit, what is his name again? Because I feel like I've just never seen him.
No, I liked him because he was pretty good with some of the challenges. He was very good at kicking that the field goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like this. He seemed like unhinged to me in this tribal. He looked crazy to me.
He did,
right?
crazy.
Didn't he look crazy to you? Like I never got that. He seemed like a pretty even keeled, like sort of a nice guy or whatever for the most part in the game. And then at this tribal, I was like, is he like an asshole? And we're just now seeing it for the first time. That's kind of like the feeling I got. I know. I'm sorry.
I hope not.
It's harsh. It's harsh, but
it's not harsh. We're asking questions. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know these people.
This, yeah, it was weird. I don't know. I don't really like David anymore.
No. Fairly well.
I didn't really get to form an opinion either way.
Yeah, no. Bye. But DM Rux has an interesting question here. Wants to know, do you guys think Nina should flip to the Spice Girls since she lost her number one person?
I mean, I would love to see it personally, but I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't know yet because I don't
highly doubt that would happen. I don't know.
And I also don't know that we know. I don't know enough about what Nina is doing that we just haven't seen. Because obviously
these little blurbs of here and there, but we're not seeing her game at all.
No, because I didn't really know that she had such a relationship with Dave and Sam. Not until she finally told us. So obviously there's a lot to her other little relationships and I'm sure her social game that we're just not privy to. So I don't know really what would be best for her.
Right. I almost feel like I don't really know. Because I felt like there was this group of four, right, between Nina, David, Sam, and then temporarily Liz that were trying to make a big move and taking out Haley. Right. But other than that, and that fell through. That obviously fell through. It didn't happen. And and now Nina's lost David. I just feel like Nina's been she's been trying to pull off some other bigger moves and get things going, but the tires are spinning a little bit. You know what I mean? I would love to see Nina be like, you know what? I'm gonna throw everybody off. I'm just gonna do a crazy thing, and I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna flip right now. I would love to see that, honestly.
Yeah.
But I would rather her do that than just kind of stick along with now Sean and Sam and whoever's left over there. And Sean's interesting too because he has this idol still that no one knows about. There's so much going on right now. I
forgot that he has an idol.
There's so much happening.
There's a lot going on, and I also now wonder, now that Liz has played hers, that means that one should go back in to play somewhere. So that'd be exciting to see who finds that.
Well, there's also that. Did we unpack that Simon and George are working together now?
We didn't discuss it.
Yeah, because I don't know how long it's gonna last.
Right, I don't know how.
Based on this next on, I see Sean and Simon talking a lot in this next on. So,
are they?
Yeah,
I don't remember the next on.
Sometimes
I'm talking during the next on, so I don't really.
I actively don't pay. I'm I don't want to know what's coming, so I just try not to watch them on purpose.
I would watch them. I just usually were recapping what just happened. So.
I've gone so up and down with Simon. By the way, I've gone from liking him to really not liking him to feeling bad. I felt really bad for him though in this most recent episode a couple of times because it just felt like every time he was trying to have a conversation with somebody, they'd be like, yeah, maybe later. I'm just gonna do this first. And then it was funny that it happened to be George was the first one. But then even after George had that initial conversation to pull Simon in, even later on, they were discussing things and Simon was there and George and them were just okay, yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. And they walked off and Simon was like, oh, but all right. It was kind of I feel really bad for him. But then I also feel I don't know. I also feel he's just so wishy-washy. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what to say.
Messy.
I do feel bad. I do feel bad for him.
He is just all over the place, yeah.
Even if most of it is his fault at times, I just feel I do feel bad. I don't know.
I have the same affection for Simon as I do for Fessy.
I wouldn't compare those two people.
I just adore them both.
Even the comments, there was one point where Simon was just kind of like hanging out by himself, like on the beach. And then they like cut to Sean, and Sean's like, yeah, oh, they could find a mirror out here for Simon or something. And it's like, why is everybody just taking shots at Simon? Like,
I know, poor guy.
It's like not even about game stuff anymore. It's just like the guy's been down. He's in the bottom of the pecking order, no matter where he goes. But like,
because he thought he had an idol, as if it's not bad enough that he had a fake idol. You know, now everyone thinks that he was doing something shady with it, and now everyone hates him because he mistook this idol.
He's just messy. He's messy.
Unfortunate. This is very unfortunate.
He's a little dumb. It's okay.
Yeah. Poor guy.
But overall though, I really do like Simon, to be honest, overall.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like a bad guy. Like I don't think he's great. Yeah, I don't think he's great with strategy. I think he gets confused about where to go, especially when he's at the bottom. I don't know. I feel kind of bad. It sucks when you're that person that, like, no matter what side you try to go to work with, they're like, oh, well, we're just going to have this conversation first, but maybe we'll talk to you later. Like, oh, I can't even imagine being in that position. Like, what that must feel like.
So he's lucky. Yeah.
He is also just so pretty. So pretty.
And he is too. Ooh. And that might assist in, the reason why, I'm very tolerant of Simon.
James came. For the listeners who do not know, James is my roommate and also one of my best friends. I was cooking in the kitchen earlier and he comes in and he was like, you watched the Australian version of this show, right? And I went, yeah. And he went, is this season the heroes and villains one? And I went, yeah. And he went, I came across a TikTok before. And the most handsome man I've ever seen in my life. And I said, Simon. It is Simon. And I pulled up a picture and showed him, and he said, yes. And I said, yes. Glad we're all on the same page.
So you think that Simon is the most handsome man in Australian Survivor?
I do.
You do.
I know that is contrary to your opinion.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't hold a candle to Sean.
I know.
Sean is just.
I've been told I look
on a Saturday.
I've been told I look very much like both of them.
Here we go.
Who's told you these things? Who told you that?
Just a lot of people that I've met.
Are the people in the room with us right now?
No. They're just people that I meet in my everyday life. Here on Long Island, New York.
Is it April 1st?
but it was April 2nd.
Oof.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Well, I guess depending on the time zone.
Oh my God.
Matt says white male ego. Am I right? Yeah, I'd say so.
Listen, this is what the people are telling me. I don't know. I can't. What do you want to do?
Okay. All right. That's what they're saying. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. No opinions are wrong except those.
Wow.
But with that, when will we be back? We'll be back on Thursday, discussing it's our tomorrow episode, but for our Australian friends, tonight's episode we'll be back for you on Friday, but tomorrow on Thursday for us is the mess. Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. All right, that's our time. We'll be here talking about the next episode. This is episode what? 15.
That will be 15. Yeah,
15. Yeah. Jeez, we're really flying through this. This is going to be done in like another 3 weeks or so, isn't it? Like it's done really soon.
What a difference from the Challenge 38, which felt like we were watching for literal a decade.
I know. And we're getting ready to gear up for another one.
God,
more of the challenge.
God damn it.
But yeah. Anything else for the benefit of the community?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. You can find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod or on our website, at stretchatpod.com. Website. All right. But thanks for hanging out. Tell a friend, like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Thank you very much.